The HSE says it's working to contain a very sophisticated human-operated ransomware attack on its IT systems. However, no ransom demand has yet been made. The attack is affecting both national and local health systems.
We did become aware of it during the night, and we've been obviously acting on it straight away. The immediate priority is obviously to contain this, but it is what we call a kind of human-operated ransomware attack, where they would seek to get access to data and obviously, seek a ransom for it. We've taken a precautionary measure to shut down a lot of our major systems to protect them.
The issue has already led to significant disruption. The UL Hospitals Group says long delays are expected for patients attending services across its 6 hospitals in the Midwest. While in Dublin, the Rotunda Hospital has cancelled most of its outpatient visits.
So our ability to get patients' history, our ability to look up patients' laboratory results are back to old-fashioned paper approaches. We've already texted all patients who have appointments today to let them know that unless they're over 36 weeks pregnant or unless they have an emergency or a concern about their baby, they probably shouldn't come to the hospital.
I only heard it on the radio this morning, and I'm waiting a year and a half for this appointment through the COVID.
The HSE says the attack is focused on accessing data stored on central servers.
They could either, be demanding a ransom demand to release the information back to the HSE, but some of the criminal gangs also demand a ransom to prevent them from releasing the data onto the internet.
The government says COVID-19 vaccinations and testing are not affected and is advising people to keep any other appointments they may have.
Outside of the vaccination programme, if you have an appointment today or in the coming days for any HSE service, you should attend unless you were specifically contacted and told not to do so. Emergency departments are operating as normal, and if you need to attend a hospital, please do so.
Angus Cox, RTE News.
Well, let's get more on this now from our business editor, Will Goodbody, who's here in studio. Will, as we saw there, this really took everybody by surprise. What do we know about this attack now?
Well, we know at this stage that it is a targeted attack, so either individual hospitals or health services or the HSE as a whole have been deliberately targeted by hackers. And this makes it different to the WannaCry ransomware attack in 2017, which also led to the HSE preemptively shutting down many of its systems for several days at that time, because that was more random in its nature. Now, I understand this particular type of ransomware is well known. It's been around since May of last year. It's used very much by professional hackers, though, not by amateurs. It's also known to be very fast operating, so once it gets into systems, it moves very, very quickly. It's also believed to be a double extortion form, as Brian Honan referred to there, that not only encrypts the systems it's on, but also then can potentially steal that data that can then be used for a second form of extortion after the fact. We don't yet know, though, of course, whether any data has been stolen, nor if any ransom has actually been demanded at this point. But we do know that at least 2 systems have been compromised in different locations. So the process now for the HSE is, and for the institutions involved, is to identify the extent of this infection, to contain it, put in place any measures that need to be done to keep it at bay. And then very slowly the HSE and these organisations will have to one by one turn on systems, turn on computers, bring them back up in isolation before they can then all connect them back onto the network again. So it's likely to take several days, I think, to do all that. I suppose one saving grace is that it's happening on a Friday, so they perhaps have a little bit of a window over the weekend.
And Will, briefly, how vulnerable are our institutions to these kind of attacks, and what can we do to prevent them?
Yeah, I mean, this kind of attack is a serious risk for all organisations around the world now, both public and private. There's been a lot of work done here at government level over the last number of years and at EU level around this issue. Since 2019, we've had a national cybersecurity strategy. We have a national cybersecurity centre. The Guards, the Defence Forces all have teams working on this kind of thing. So we're better prepared now than we were before. That said, no matter how much preparation is made, it's often the case that these hackers are one step ahead of the cybersecurity experts at any given time. All it takes is one small vulnerability to be exploited. All it takes is for one person to click a link, for example, for these vulnerabilities to be exposed. So nonetheless, I think once all this settles down, serious questions will be asked about how this has happened.
All right, Will Goodbody, thank you.